On this episode of the Dubcast, part of the Round Ball Australia podcast network, Australia now knows its path to an Asia Cup trophy. Canberra United has been saved, or the worst kept secret in Australian women's football was announced by the Wellington Phoenix last week, and we'll keep you up to date where everyone is heading in and around the A-League women. On this episode of the Dubcast, Dante seems to be very keen to be involved with the Dubcast. But we got to meet Dante the last time we recorded a full-length episode, and it seems he just wants to be part of the family.
Wants to be part of the family or wants to shred up my hands. The world may never know. The world will know, actually, because he's doing it right now. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dante. You're very cute. You're very cute. Go get it. Go get the little... Okay. Yeah, I apologize for all of the interruptions that Dante will make. He doesn't apologize, though.
I would be disappointed if, as a cat, he did apologize. So that was Dante. I'm sure not for the last time on this episode of the Dubcast. No. But Burke, how have you been looking after Dante?
Yeah, I mean, aside from the various clawing and puncture wounds, it's been good. I've been chilling. He's been chilling. I don't know if you can hear him skittering around on the floor, but yeah. This is like the one moment he's not chilling, which is so great and so fun for me. But yes, yeah, Dante and I, we're frenemies at best, as in I want to be his friend, but he only wants to be my friend sometimes. So
that's how all good friendships start.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'll start with the Asian Cup draw that took place last week. The Matildas have their path set out for the tournament. So Australia automatically assigned into Group A as the host nation. Slot A1 were drawn alongside South Korea, Iran, and the Philippines in their group. And they'll kick off against the Philippines on the 1st of March, 2026 in Perth. Group B has North Korea, China, Bangladesh, and Uzbekistan, while Group C has Japan, Vietnam, India, and Taiwan. It's a 12-team tournament, so every group has its weaknesses and its strengths. I mean, Japan probably got the easier of the three groups, Burke, but, you know, Australia and the Matildas, Joe Montemuro, still have a relatively easy path to top the group and go through into the knockout stages in a very good position.
Yeah, I think all of our, group mates pose really different challenges, and I think it'll be really exciting to see how we step up to each of them. I'm just mostly very glad that we won't be getting got by South Korea. That's it, really. I'm just so glad. Yes, we will likely have to face Japan, but they did that in 2011, and then they won the whole thing. So it's fine. I can't do South Korea again. I can't do it again. I won't do it again. I hope they won't make me do it again.
No, please. Well, I mean, it would be impossible for them to face off in the quarterfinals, but there is a path for that to take place in the semifinals. Not that it should happen. As already mentioned, we're very much looking at at Japan in the semifinals if the draw plays out as we expect it to. It's a tournament structure. It's a small tournament. You've got to go through heavyweights in order to win the whole thing. That's just how it works. You don't always get the easiest path, and sometimes if you do get the easiest path, that doesn't necessarily mean success. If you look back just a few months ago to Melbourne City's Asian Women's Champions League campaign, they got to avoid all of the heavyweights on their way through and fell in a very exciting final, but fell in a final nonetheless. Sorry to remind you, Burke. I can see you get the disgust on your face.
Exciting is one word you could use for that.
Exciting for the neutral.
Yeah. Okay.
But overall, I mean, look, I'm very happy with the way that the path plays out for Australia. There's little to no chance, knock on wood, that they should, not make the World Cup based on this, because this, as we've touched on, this is the final Asian Cup that will double as Women's World Cup qualification. So from that perspective, it should be a success for Australia. And perhaps the better part of the equation for Joe Montemuro's side is that between South Korea, Iran, and the Philippines, Australia have won all of their last outings against these sides, albeit not coached by Joe Montemuro.
Yeah, I mean, we're absolutely capable of topping our group. We should top our group. We should qualify for the World Cup. If we don't, it's going to be a long 4 years of Joe
Does Joe
Montemuro.
Montemuro have a job after the Asian Cup if Australia fails to make the World Cup? If they get grouped, how quickly is Joe Montemuro back coaching a European club side?
I think the final whistle blows, and so does the "Thank you, Joe Montemuro" graphic. I think they go at the same time. Yeah, and I think the media will have a field day, low key as they should, and there will be a lot of angry fanboys, I imagine, and I say fanboys specifically for a reason, and you can work that out. You can work out the reason for that yourself. I will not elaborate.
And then, looking at it, so they'll kick off against the Philippines in Perth. They'll then travel to the Gold Coast as part of a doubleheader to face Iran. Although it's technically it's a doubleheader in the sense they're being played at the same stadium on the same day, but there's multiple hours between the full-time whistle of Philippines versus South Korea and then Iran versus Australia. And then it is Iran versus the Philippines on the final match day, and Australia versus South Korea. So, I mean, in terms of order of opponent, probably the hardest order to go in, starting off with the Philippines, then going to Iran, then going to South Korea. But that being said, it also gives you the advantage of being able to build up those results. So the only thing you're possibly sweating on that final match day is placing in the group.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you use the first two games as the options or the possibility of building a strong lead, getting a good goal advantage, that kind of thing, and then not hopefully folding to Korea once again. Am I still mad about that? Maybe. Maybe. But it's okay because we hosted the World Cup that time, so we were safe. This time, we are not. So hopefully we do everything we need to do correctly in the order that we need to get it done, so I don't have to stress. This is mostly about me, this tournament. Just couldn't work it out. This is about how I survive the Asian Cup.
This is the Burke redemption story.
Please, please let me have it. Oh my God, this cat. This cat. Yes, my redemption arc. Okay.
Hi, Dante.
Yeah.
I'll just continue on. You might not see Burke for the next few minutes or so. Joe Montemuro, speaking after the draw, said that the pressure of being host is the privilege. It's great to be at this level, and we're really looking forward to it. I mean, it's tournament football. He knows what to expect, although he's never done it in this sort of environment at the national team level, but he's done tournament football before.
Joe's done tournaments before, obviously, like I said, not on a national scale, but he's done them before. He knows what to expect, and I think, if anything, tournament football is more familiar to him, if that makes sense, than, I guess, national team play. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No, it makes sense.
He
It makes sense,
knows
yes.
the situation. He knows how to ask for certain things of his players that he needs for this particular scenario that we're in. So, if anything, I think this is it'll be okay. I feel at this point in time. Ask me tomorrow, my answer might be completely different. But right now, as of the time of recording, I think it should be okay.
And then, sort of before we move on, the last little tidbit to come out of the Asian Cup draw, as it relates to the Matildas, Joe Montemiro met with the media almost immediately after the draw, and said that Mary Fowler might be more than a hopeful for the tournament, indicating that her recovery might be shorter than previously thought. But it's also an ACL injury. 7 months would surely that's venturing on record-breaking recovery levels
Yeah.
for a tournament that Australia, yeah, okay, you want everyone you can have, but like we literally just sat through a tournament where Tony Gustafsson was, well, we didn't just sit through it, we had the Olympics, but 2023 World Cup on home soil where he was supposed to have Kaya Simon and Sam Kerr. Kaya Simon suffered a setback in training, and then Sam Kerr goes down on the eve of the tournament. Not that it mattered because Tony Gustafsson used like 5 players in that tournament, but we've just sat through a tournament where an injured player has been bench riding for the entire tournament, unable to be used, taking up the spot of someone who could be used. And I like the idea of just let Fowler rest, let her recover. I don't care if she's 100%. Let her, she doesn't need the grind of, what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 6 games in all of 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. In terms of the timing of the recovery, it'd be a 7-month turnaround. The only player I've seen or heard of that has done close to that, at least in the women's game, is Jill Roord, who also did her ACL when she was with Manchester City. She did her ACL in January 2024. 2024? Yeah, Jan 2024, and came back end of September 2024. So that was about 8 months. So it's possible to do that. But just because something is possible doesn't mean you have to do it. I think that's
Yeah.
something we should all take on. Yeah, just because she can doesn't mean she should. Mary Fowler is a young player. Obviously, the return time will be quicker anyway. Like, we're not going to see her out for 2 years because she's, like Sam Kerr, unfortunately. She will be back very soon. I would say if it was like a normal timeline, it'd be after the Asian Cup, which I think we should stick to. I don't think we really need to rush her, and I don't think we should rush her. Obviously, if she wants to play, that's a bit of a different story because you've got people like Lucy Bronze who ran out the Euros on a fractured tibia, which is a completely different story, but also you see what I mean, where it's like if the player wants to play, whether or not it's in their best interest, sometimes they will just do things.
Very much gritting my teeth on that so I don't get us kicked off the air.
Yeah, no, fair, very fair. Um, I I understand where you're coming from there, but the point that I was making is just that if the player wants to do something, they will. So, but I hope she doesn't feel like she has to, because she doesn't. She doesn't.
No.
There's
There's plenty of options in the forward line and more specifically at right wing for Mary Fowler. Like Hayley Razzo just earned a move to I don't remember where Hayley Razzo's gone, but she's earned a move. Courtney Vine, Montemiro has seemingly indicated she's in line for selection. She is playing quite well for North Carolina Courage. We sort of saw Samani towards the end of his tenure use Fowler in that sort of right wing spot. So there's already 2 options right there. You've got to put Holly Mack somewhere. Sam Kerr is back. Caitlin Ford could possibly shift over to the right wing as well, and you can put someone else on the left wing. And there's options aplenty, which should mean that Fowler shouldn't feel the need to come back as quickly as she might otherwise.
Yeah, for sure.
And moving on, we will go to the nation's capital, Burke, because it's the news that we've all been waiting for the entire off-season. First spoken about by Michelle Heyman following the Matildas friendly, which was that she said she'd spoken with new owners and it was on the APL to announce everything. Although this seemingly indicates that there aren't new owners, but they have, Canberra United have and Capital Football have received a significant amount of government financial support in order for Capital Football to continue to run Canberra United for the 2025-26 A-League Women season. Capital Football CEO Samantha Farrow, the club are extremely appreciative of the continued financial support of the ACT government and are now in the process of appointing the coaching staff and assembling a playing roster to participate in the league. We strongly reiterate that this will be the final season that Capital Football will be running Canberra United FC. As stated previously, the growth of the team, the competition and the associated financial commitments has become too large for a member federation to adequately manage to the professional standards that these players deserve. So it's obviously not definitive yet as to who's going to be in the playing group or the coaching. It is a member federation. They have processes they need to follow, which is why when Nagosh Popovic's contract expired before Anthony Yakarinic was appointed, they had to go through a process in order to make that appointment. And, you can't really sign players until a coach has been appointed in terms of those sorts of processes. And we sort of saw this last year where it kind of, don't want to use the wrong wording here, but it sort of just became the players who weren't necessarily wanted by other clubs. Like it was very much a land of the misfit toys. And yeah, it worked incredibly well. And that's not to say, that is a bad thing. They made the finals. They worked quite well under Yagarinic, and that's not, and I don't think that they wouldn't be able to do the same here. Presumably, Michelle Heyman is going to be the first signing announced if and when that happens.
Yeah, I'm really deeply, deeply happy about this. I wonder if Heyman meant that when she was speaking to new owners, she just meant the government. Um, but I probably not. But it would be funny if it was.
She just went to Parliament House and
Yeah.
went, right, you are giving us these funds because I don't want to leave Canberra.
She just rocked up on the doorstep of Parliament House and was like, "Hey, who wants to pay me?" And then they all said, "We do, we really do." Um, but yeah, hopefully there is actually owners waiting in the wings kind of thing to just slide on through and continue this, because we've said it a million times. We need Canberra United in the league. We need them. Losing them is, in my humble opinion, not an option. So, yeah, I'm really glad. It'll be interesting to see who they sign again because of everything you mentioned. But, I think Michelle Heyman's a pretty good draw card. Who wouldn't want to play with one of the legends of the game? Plenty of people do.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah.
I would.
I've
Not that I'm
never
anywhere
played
near
this sport in
the
my
talent
life.
level of the A-League women, but
Yeah. I've never played this sport in my life, but I would sign up to play alongside Michelle Heyman any day of the week.
yeah, and you mentioned the importance. They were a foundation side of the W League as it formed, and they've been crowned champions twice and premiers 3 times. So five of the times that trophies have been up for grabs, Canberra United have won them. So it's there's 2 trophies a year, and it's been going for 17 years. So you do the math. 5 of 34 trophies, I think it is. Canberra United have won them. So I believe they were the first side as well to go undefeated in, I think it was an 11 or 12 game season. So they've been very integral to the history of the league itself. And away days to Canberra back on, Burke. How good?
So good. I would just like to say there are plenty of other sides I would prefer to see fold than Canberra United. You can guess who those sides are. You won't have to guess hard. I also won't say anything. So Canberra United,
Well,
forever.
Well, we know that one of those sides you don't want to see fold are the Wellington Phoenix, who revealed the worst kept secret in women's football, announcing Bev Priestman as their coach on a 2-year contract. First reported by us here at Round Ball Australia, all the way back in May, that she was the lead candidate. It has been announced that she is taking over, and she didn't wait long to make some impact signings, Burke, one of those being CJ Bott.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought? Who who saw that coming? That Bev Priestman was going to be coaching the Phoenix. I, for one, am totally shocked by this information. Just absolutely gobsmacked and stunned. But yeah, world's worst kept secret. I don't think there's been a secret worse kept that I can think of than this signing. Um, I think the whole situation is going to be very interesting. Um, I think there are still a lot of people that have issue with this, which I think they are well within their right to have. But I also know that there are plenty of people that have made their peace with it. Um, and they're also well within their right to have done that. It'll be, yeah, I think I've said it like 4 times now. It'll be interesting to see how this all pans out because you can clearly see that the Knicks want to do something big with women's football and they're putting their money where their mouth is. They've gotten a coach that won an Olympic gold medal. Whether or not anything helped them to do that, we don't know. But they did win the gold medal. So, yeah, as far as I'm aware, Priestman hasn't ever coached in league. She's only ever
No,
been involved in national setups as
that
the
is correct,
assistant
yes.
or the head coach. So it's kind of the opposite of Joe, really. We've gone from a head coach that has never coached internationally to a coach that's never coached nationally. I wonder how she'll feel about the the derby, like the East-West derby between Perth and Wellington. I think that'll.
The distance derby will certainly be an experience.
I wonder if she'll get caught out by customs for having something in her bag that she shouldn't have. As a random
Uh,
animal, please, please, that would be hysterical. I also think them facing up against Melbourne City will be fun.
yes. Yes,
Um,
I am very much
Second
looking
start.
forward to that.
Yeah, you.
When I saw the signing of CJ Bott, I immediately sent in a message to friend of the pod, Daniel Finfasane. Not the New Zealand defender I was hoping that Bev Priestman would sign, but we know Rebecca Stott locked up a 2-year deal with Melbourne City quite some time ago, so that was never going to be on the cards. But Wellington Phoenix versus Melbourne City, first time, lock it in. Oh, that is going to be appointment viewing.
The drone
I
derby.
don't know if I want Wellington to win or if I want Rebecca Stott hat trick and her just staring down the Wellington bench after
I
every goal.
I want Rebecca Stott to be the winner of the drone derby. She's already won it once, and she didn't even know she was playing in it that time. So now that she knows, I want her to win.
Phoenix chairman Rob Morrison. This is a step up in an exciting era for the Phoenix women's team. Along with our significant ongoing investment in the Women's Academy program, we have doubled our investment in the women's first team, and this has resulted in us being able to recruit some great international players. Signing one of the world's best coaches is a statement for the club, but it is also a statement for the league, reflecting the ambition and investment from the APL for the development of the women's game in Australasia. And I think that's probably the part of this that can't really be understated is they were the first team, as far as anyone is aware, to announced that they were doing full-time support staff and assistant coaching for their women's team, even though the contracts are still only 35 weeks long. Presumably, Bev Priestman is on a full-time 2-year contract as well. So, full-time staff in the coaching and support department, Burke. Phoenix want success. They've had 3 coaches in their previous 4 years. I believe it was so they're on their fourth head coach in their 5-year history. The winning records of the previous 4 seasons in order: 2 wins, 3 wins, 9 wins, and 7 wins. So a coach who knows how to win, whether you agree with some of the methods that have been deployed or not, or allegedly deployed, that's entirely your prerogative. But she knows how to win. She said that she signed with the club because the club wants to win, and the actions are backing that up. So this seems like it's a match made in heaven for the Phoenix, and I'm low-key putting them into the final series already, and I would not be surprised at this point if they won it in Priestman's first year. They've got a lot of competition to overcome, but I would not be surprised.
That's a big call,
It is.
especially considering I'm already envisioning the angriest Holly McNamara you've ever seen in your life. Because, yeah, she won one of 3 trophies she was eligible for and has signed on for 1 more year. And I feel, gonna really want those other 2 trophies that she maybe should have had this past season gone. But yeah, I think I wouldn't put it past them to make finals. I don't know if I'd say they'd go the whole 9 yards just yet.
No, that's fair.
Give me
That's fair.
3 rounds to kind of suss them out, and then I might make a judgment call then. Maybe 5
Oh, look,
rounds.
if they start winless after their first 3 rounds, I am immediately backtracking this prediction.
If they go winless in their first 3 rounds, the fans may riot.
We'll move on to a quick wrap up of some of the transfer news that's gone on as well. So, Tiana Jaber has re-signed a 2-year contract extent. Has re-signed, on another 2-year deal with the Wellington Phoenix. Newcastle have seen quite a number of departures. Milan Hammond, Danielle Krasniak, Tiana Robertson, Lorena Bauman, Lara Gooch, Sheridan Gallagher, Belle Rowley, and Gia Vakari have all bid farewell to the Jets. I said in the group chat, Tiana Robertson one really surprised me at the time. Krasniak, not so much. Tiana Robertson's departure, most definitely. But they abated that basically the next day by saying that the club had signed Anna Leott. What's his name? Stephen Hoyle, the New Zealand connection, clearly working wonders there for the Jets. A very experienced goalkeeper, football fern, although not the football fern's goalkeeper I wanted the club to sign.
Look, you can't have it all. You can't have it all.
No, I cannot. Brisbane Roar, Amali Kinsella has signed a 2-year scholarship deal. Sydney FC announced and the current leading NPL women's Golden Boot, Sky Halmerick, along with Claire Corbett and Willa Pearson, as being part of the squad for the upcoming season. Sophia Fante was also announced in that, but it had already been announced by Sydney FC as well. And if you want to have an in-depth look at what Sophia Fante might be able to bring Sydney FC, you should be able to click above my head somewhere here to have a look at the scouting video that I did on Sophia Fante, who might also see some action for the young Matildas coming up in their under-20s Asian Women's Cup qualifying campaign. Still no broadcast details on that as of the time of recording. I have been trying to chase those down. So presumably we're going to find out at 2:55 a.m. tomorrow morning where this game is actually being broadcast, if it is being broadcast. And that's a 3 a.m. kickoff, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So depending on when I upload this, might have already happened. And if so, we hope that the young Matildas have got their qualifying campaign off to a great start against Tajikistan with a win. Daisy Brown has also signed with Brisbane Roar. And Bianca Garlich has also signed with Sydney FC, departing the Central Coast Mariners. I mean, we've sort of talked about Ante Juric kind of doing a squad clean-out, Burke, and bringing in someone like Bianca Garlich is certainly an indication that success is not an option this year. It is the only option.
Yeah, I think, firstly, RIP and peace to the Central Coast Mariners. They've been low-key gutted. Low-key, high-key. Um, but yeah, definitely a major signing for Sydney. We've seen what Galish can do. She won the thing last season. Yeah, overall just a great midfielder. So yeah, a great signing for Sydney, much as I loathe to say it.
And then Jess Nash has moved to Sassuolo from the Mariners as well, while Alex Chidiac is off to Como, both in the Serie A, and will be joining Winona Heatley in Italy as well. So the Aussies is the flavour of the month in Italy, Burke.
Italia, Italia. I'm claiming really hard my half Italian roots there. Love to see that. If more Aussies want to go to Italy, I support that completely.
Yeah, I think it's good that we're going to have more Australians playing in Europe, particularly in European leagues that are the top flight in their country. Courtney Nevin's gone to Malmo as well, and that's sort of where she had some of her best career success was her time in Sweden. Italy, in terms of the women's game, might not be on everyone's radar as sort of like to use the men's equivalent, the top five league sort of vibe. It's very much a top one league in terms of the WSL, and then there's everyone else. But I mean, it's still competitive football, it's still decent football. It's certainly not the first batch of Aussies we've seen go to City A, in the women's game. So hopefully success for all of them, even though there's only a handful of trophies up to grab, so they probably won't all have success. But game time is certainly a good thing. And who'd have thought that signing players to long-term contracts might net clubs record transfer fees, Burke?
I never saw that coming. Never in my life did I think that signing a player to a contract longer than 1 year might help them at that club to make money. Uh, Mind-blowing stuff, really. What's in economics? I don't know her. Nobody does, it seems. That's why there are still 1 year contracts.
And
Whatever.
35-week contracts at that. But yeah, the Melbourne victory certainly coming up trumps there, having signed Chidiac to a 2.5-year deal, of which she played about a year and a half of that contract, so 1 year to go, and they netted the club record transfer fee for her. One thing I want to say before we sort of move on is, can we abolish the phrase club record transfer fee? Just tell us what the number is.
I
Or don't
mean,
mention it at all, just say transfer fee. Like, I don't want to hear this club record. Tell us what the number is, or just keep it more vague. Like, just keep it as vague as possible, because there's a huge difference between $10,000, $50,000, and $100,000. It's not a league record transfer fee, so we know it's not over $100,000. So, but there's a huge difference between those numbers, Burke.
yeah. The thing is also, pretty much every transfer fee is going to be a record fee at this point because no one has been doing them. No one's been getting them until what was it? Was it Torpy who was the first one, or was it the um? Oh my God, I can't remember her name. The goalkeeper for City, the Canadian.
Lysiane Peru. So I
That's
believe
the
it
one.
was,
It was
yeah, I
one of
believe
them
it was,
first.
yeah, it was one of those two. And then it was Sean Fryer who went for Brisbane Roar's club record fee.
So
Lysiane Peru still holding the record for the most expensive transfer out of the A-League women,
yeah,
which is weird given that she only had like 2 months to go on her contract. But these NWSL clubs really
I
wanted
wanted it
really wanted Lysiane Peru
and
for
really wanted
preseason, clearly.
it. Yeah. So yeah, every transfer fee is going to be a club record because nobody has wanted to get a transfer fee until what, 2 seasons ago? God. And then you've got people complaining that there's no money. You need to make
But
it. You need to
let's
make
not
it.
get started on that discussion again. Elsewhere, M. Gilnick has gone to Monterrey and has started off life incredibly well with a hat trick, Burke, in a
Yeah,
5-0 win.
tearing it up. That club is big, and honestly, football over there is huge. So, yeah, we were discussing it on Beyond 90 just the other day about how they wouldn't be surprised if Gilnick came back telling other Australians to maybe give the league a look, just playing in front of huge crowds, and scoring a hat trick isn't that bad either. So, yeah,
Yeah, it's certainly a good thing. And if you were to play in any country in North America, Mexico is probably one of the better options at the moment.
yeah, yeah, can say that quite easily.
Indeed. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about, Burke? Because I think that covers all of the major talking points that have happened since we last spoke.
Yeah, just trying to think what else has happened. England won the Euros. Boring. Whatever. They've already done that. Um, anything else happened? There's a bunch of youth football about to happen.
Yes, we talked about the under-20s. We
Yeah.
talked about
Under 20s, under 23s, and the under
Rays
16s. Yes, under 16s.
under 16s. That tournament's still a couple of weeks away as well. Yes, the under 23s. Those games are being broadcast on the ASEAN United Football YouTube channel, so it should be very easy to search. That one has been confirmed. And just checking my phone, still no update on the under 20s. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, it was Daniela Galic to Vitro. I don't remember if we talked about that or not. Tegan Micah to Leon. Don't remember if we talked about that. There are a lot of things that have been.
I think we did Micah to Leon last episode.
Yeah,
We did speak about the.
We might have, yes.
Transfers.
So yes, plenty of transfers happening all over the place. Plenty of storylines to go along. It is the off season, and it seems like 2 weeks of silence, and then everything happens all at once, and then there'll be another 3 weeks of silence after this.
Yeah, I look forward to 2 weeks of silence, and then my phone just going insane one day randomly in 2 weeks' time.
Sounds like me driving to go watch an Australia Cup game last week. The SD Raiders versus MacArthur game, which MacArthur won 5-0. I had my afternoon, my evening planned out entirely, and then Canberra United decided that they wanted to announce they were continuing, plus the Asian Cup draw, plus goals aplenty. There were 5 goals of the game, and I missed 4 of them.
Nice.
Because I was busy writing or doing something or getting food.
Love when that happens.
Yes. So there was almost no point in me going to go actually cover the game itself.
You'll get him next time. Maybe.
Yes, maybe. I will indeed. But that will do for this episode of the Dubcast, part of the Round Ball Australia Podcast Network. As always, remember to hit subscribe, the little notification bell on whatever platform you're consuming this on, whether that be YouTube or your podcasting platform, as these episodes are coming out at random times throughout the off-season. When there's a lot of things to talk about, or when Burke and I can both make times in our incredibly busy schedules, because apparently going to watch football games impacts recording times. Who'd have thought?
Not me. I wouldn't have thought that. Not for a second.
And we wish the young Matildas and the under-23s the best of luck in their 2 respective tournaments. And, well, at least there'll be some football for us to talk about the next time that we do a pod recording. Burke. But on behalf of Burke, my name is Palladi. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will speak to you next time.